When you think of NBA champions with more rings than Michael Jordan, who comes to mind? I bet you're thinking Bill Russell, right? 11 rings, one of the greatest to ever play the game, and a name that's synonymous with winning. But wait, what if I told you there's another player, not as famous, who has 7 NBA titles to his name? Now you might be scratching your head thinking, who could that be? Let me give you a hint. He's not a Hall of Famer like Kareem or Magic, and he's definitely not someone who regularly lit up the scoreboard. In fact, this player scored fewer points in his entire career than Isaiah Thomas. Not the legendary Pistons Thomas, but the more recent Isaiah Thomas, the 5'9" guard known for his heart and hustle. Still, this guy managed to win 7 championships with 3 different teams. Sounds impossible, right? Well, this player exists, and his name is Robert Horry. That's right, Robert Horry. A name you might have heard here and there, but probably not the first that comes to mind when you think of all-time NBA greats. But here's the thing. Robert Horry isn't just another name in the NBA history books. He is, without a doubt, one of the most clutch players the game has ever seen. He didn't dominate games by dropping 40 points, nor did he lead his team in stats year after year. But what he did do was deliver in the moments that mattered most. We're talking game-winning shots, series-clinching plays, and those wow moments when his team needed him to step up. Horry wasn't the star, but he was the guy you counted on in crunch time. That's why he earned the nickname Big Shot Rob. You know what a role player is, right? They're like the unsung heroes of the team. Think of them as the Alfred to the team's Batman. Batman, the star player, the superstar, is out there saving the day, grabbing all the attention, but behind the scenes, Alfred, the role player, is always there, steady and reliable, making sure everything runs smoothly. Alfred doesn't get the glory, but without him, Batman wouldn't be the hero we all know. And that's exactly what Robert Horry was for every team he played on. He wasn't the headline, but without him, those championship runs would look very different. And here's the kicker. Robert Horry might just be the greatest role player of all time. Think about it. 7 NBA titles. 7. More than Jordan, more than Kobe, more than Magic, Bird, and almost everyone you can think of. He made a career out of stepping up in the biggest moments. And today, we're going to dive deep into how he did it, why he was so special, and why his legacy deserves a lot more attention than it gets. We'll look at the clutch shots that made him a legend, the championship teams that counted on him, and how Horry carved out a role so unique that no one has quite replicated it since. So, whether you've heard of him, or this is your first time learning about the guy with 7 rings, buckle up, because today, we're giving Robert Horry his flowers. Let's get started. So, what's a role player exactly? While not always the top scorer or the star of the show, these players are essential to the team's success. They're the glue that holds everything together, providing clutch performances when it counts the most. Some of my favorite role players include Tony Kukoc, who was pivotal during the Chicago Bulls' 90s dynasty, and Lamar Odom, a versatile big man who played a crucial role in the Los Angeles Lakers' championship runs in 2009 and 2010. But the most random role player I absolutely love? Steve Novak, a 6'9" forward who came off the bench for the New York Knicks in the 2012-2013 season and shot an astonishing 47% from 3. Just imagine how Novak would fare in today's NBA. But that's not who we're here to talk about today. Today, It's all about Robert Horry, the Big Shot Rob, a player whose career is not about regular season stats, but about clutch moments and championship rings. Now, before we dive deeper, let's clear up something important. The term role player can sometimes get thrown around a little too loosely, especially when we talk about players who aren't necessarily the main star on their team. But not every player who isn't the number one option qualifies as a role player. Players like Manu Ginobili or Dennis Rodman, for example, don't really fit into this category. Sure, they played supporting roles at times, but they were far from being just background players. Both Ginobili and Rodman were absolute game changers in their own right, with career-defining moments that cemented their status as Hall of Famers. Rodman, with his freakish rebounding ability and suffocating defense, and Ginobili, with his craftiness, international influence, and clutch performances, were stars in their own way. They might not have been the face of the franchises they played for, but make no mistake, these guys were far more than just role players. On the other hand, Robert Horry's story is different. He wasn't the player making headlines every night, and he didn't collect individual accolades like MVPs or All-Star selections. What he did collect, though, were championships, 7 of them, to be exact. Horry earned his place in NBA history not by being the star or through personal glory, but by consistently showing up in the most critical moments. You see, a role player isn't just someone who fills a gap or does the dirty work. A true role player makes the plays that are needed when they are needed, especially when the stakes are high. And Robert Horry was the quintessential role player. He didn't have the gaudy stats that would place him among the league's top scorers or rebounders, but he had something far more valuable: the ability to hit clutch shots over and over again in the biggest moments. His contributions were often quiet, but deadly, earning him the well-deserved nickname, Big Shot Rob. And trust me, that nickname wasn't just handed out lightly. It was built on a career full of jaw-dropping, game-winning moments that still make highlight reels today. To understand why Horry became such a vital figure in the NBA, let's start with his background. Born on August 25, 1970, in Harford County, Maryland, Robert Keith Horry grew up in a world where basketball was more than just a hobby. It was his way out and his path to greatness. He spent his high school years at Andalusia High School in Alabama, where his talent started to shine. Now, even though he won Alabama's prestigious Naismith Player of the Year award, one thing he never managed to achieve was a state championship. But even without that high school title, Horry's potential was undeniable. After high school, he went on to play for the University of Alabama, where he spent 4 years honing his skills from 1988 to 1992. During his time there, he wasn't playing alongside just anyone. He was on the court with future NBA star Latrell Sprewell, forming a dynamic duo that helped Alabama secure 3 Southeastern Conference (SEC) titles. Not too shabby, right? On top of that, Horry and the Crimson Tide made it to the NCAA Sweet 16 twice, putting the team on the map as a force to be reckoned with. Horry's college stats were solid. He averaged 12 points, 7 rebounds, and 8 assists per game. Nothing eye-popping, but certainly respectable numbers for a player preparing to take his game to the next level. But here's the thing. What really set Horry apart during his college years wasn't his scoring. It was his defense. He developed a reputation as a versatile and reliable defender, the kind of player every coach loves to have on their roster. That defensive prowess and his do what it takes to win attitude made him an attractive pick for NBA teams. So, in the 1992 NBA draft, Horry was selected 11th overall by the Houston Rockets. His NBA journey was about to begin, but even at this stage, no one could have predicted just how crucial he'd become to so many championship teams. Horry was about to carve out a unique place for himself in NBA history. And it all started with his willingness to embrace his role, not as the star, but as the player who could be counted on when everything was on the line. Robert Horry's rookie season with the Houston Rockets was an impressive one, but in a subtle way. Unlike many young players trying to make a name for themselves by lighting up the scoreboard, Horry's impact went beyond his raw numbers. He started every game in his first year and posted solid averages: 10 points, 5 rebounds, and 2.4 assists per game. Respectable numbers, especially for a rookie adjusting to the intensity and speed of the NBA. But here's the thing, Horry was never the kind of player who chased personal stats or craved the spotlight during the regular season. His true genius, his unique ability to rise to the occasion, only really shone during the most crucial moments, the playoffs. While other players might tire or crumble under pressure, Robert Horry thrived. And as it turns out, his legacy would not be built on the mundane grind of regular season games, but rather in those high-stakes playoff moments that would come to define his career. The 1993 NBA playoffs marked Horry's first taste of postseason action, and it became clear early on that this was where he was meant to shine. The Rockets made it to the second round, where they faced a tough Seattle Supersonics team led by stars like Gary Payton and Shawn Kemp. The series was an absolute battle, going all the way to a Game 7. With everything on the line, the pressure was at an all-time high. And with 38 seconds left on the clock, the game tied at 91 apiece. Horry stepped up and hit a clutch go-ahead shot to give the Rockets the lead. This was the kind of moment that would come to define his career. Cool under pressure, Horry always seemed to have ice in his veins when it mattered most. Unfortunately, despite Horry's heroics, the Sonics managed to tie the game and eventually won in overtime, knocking the Rockets out of the playoffs. But this was just the beginning for Robert Horry. While many young players might have let such a heartbreaking loss get to them, Horry used it as fuel. He learned what it took to perform under pressure and came back stronger the very next season. The 1993-1994 season would become the turning point, both for Horry and for the Houston Rockets. This was the year Hakeem Olajuwon was in his prime, and the Rockets, with their core intact, were ready to make a serious run for the title. Horry, now with a year of experience under his belt and battle-tested from the previous playoffs, was ready to step up in a big way. His numbers in the regular season were steady, but it was in the playoffs that Horry truly began to shine. His playoff averages jumped to 11.7 points and 6.1 rebounds per game, numbers that showed he wasn't just along for the ride, but a key contributor in Houston's pursuit of a championship. Horry was no longer the rookie trying to find his place. He was now a vital part of the Rockets' playoff machine, doing whatever it took to help the team win. The Rockets' playoff journey that year was nothing short of spectacular, with Olajuwon playing at an MVP level and Horry providing crucial support on both ends of the floor. The team marched through the Western Conference and found themselves in the NBA Finals, facing off against the New York Knicks. It was a hard-fought series, with both teams battling for every possession. But in the end, it was Horry's knack for making clutch plays that helped tilt the series in Houston's favor. Alongside teammates like Vernon Maxwell, Horry played a pivotal role in securing the Rockets' first NBA title. It wasn't just Olajuwon's dominance in the paint that led them to victory. It was Horry's ability to contribute in critical moments, especially on defense, and from beyond the arc. That made all the difference. His big shots and timely rebounds became the secret weapon in Houston's championship run. And for Horry, this was only the beginning of a legendary playoff career that would span over a decade. What truly set Horry apart from so many other players was his ability to consistently deliver when the stakes were highest. While some players shrink in the spotlight, Horry seemed to thrive in it. In that 1994 Finals series, with everything on the line, Horry's confidence in his shot and his poise under pressure were on full display. He wasn't the leading scorer, but his presence was felt in every critical moment, hitting crucial three-pointers and providing defensive stops when they were needed most. It was these kinds of performances that earned him the nickname Big Shot Rob, a moniker that would follow him throughout his career. The 1994 NBA title was just the first of many for Robert Horry, but it was also the moment that solidified his reputation as a player who could rise to the occasion like few others in NBA history. By now, you're probably starting to see the pattern, right? Robert Horry was more than just a solid player who filled in the gaps for his team. He was the guy who stepped up in the biggest moments. Time and again, he delivered when the stakes were at their highest, proving himself to be one of the most clutch performers the NBA had ever seen. The 1995 season was no different. In the Western Conference Finals, the Houston Rockets faced off against the San Antonio Spurs in a grueling series. With the series hanging in the balance, Horry once again showed his knack for clutch shots. In Game 1, with just 14 seconds left on the clock and the score tied, Horry knocked down a cold-blooded three-pointer to seal the victory for the Rockets. And here's the kicker. It was the only shot he made in the entire game. Imagine that. For nearly 48 minutes, Horry hadn't found the bottom of the net, but when the team needed him most, he stepped up and delivered. That's the epitome of a player who performs under pressure. And it's moments like these that earned him the nickname Big Shot Rob. The Rockets went on to win that series and eventually swept the Orlando Magic in the NBA Finals to claim their second consecutive championship. Horry, for the second year in a row, was a key contributor to Houston's success. But more importantly, by this point, he had cemented his reputation as a player you could count on when everything was on the line. He wasn't just another role player. He was someone who thrived in the most intense moments, a rare quality that would come to define his career. From that point forward, the legend of Robert Horry was born, and his name became synonymous with clutch shooting and playoff heroics. But Robert Horry's story doesn't end in Houston. After a brief stint with the Phoenix Suns, where his time was marred by controversy, Horry's career took another dramatic turn. In 1997, he was traded to the Los Angeles Lakers, and this move would change his life forever. The Lakers, at the time, were assembling one of the most dominant dynasties in NBA history, led by two transcendent superstars, Shaquille O'Neal and Kobe Bryant. With Phil Jackson as head coach, the Lakers were gearing up for a run that would see them claim 3 consecutive NBA championships from 2000 to 2002. And in the middle of it all was Robert Horry, playing his now familiar role of clutch performer and unsung hero. Horry's time with the Lakers was nothing short of legendary. While Shaq and Kobe garnered most of the headlines, it was often Horry who made the game's most critical plays. In Game 3 of the 2002 Western Conference Finals, the Lakers found themselves in a dogfight against the Sacramento Kings. The Kings had been a thorn in the Lakers' side all season, and this series was no different. The game was a back-and-forth affair, and with the Lakers down by 2 points in the final seconds, all eyes were on Shaq and Kobe to make something happen. Shaq missed a putback, and the ball bounced out to the three-point line, right into the waiting hands of Robert Horry. With just seconds left, Horry launched a three-pointer as the buzzer sounded. Swish! The Lakers won the game, and that shot became one of the most iconic moments in Lakers history. It was the definition of clutch. A last-second buzzer-beating three that shifted the momentum of the entire series. Horry wasn't just a bystander on a team full of stars. He was a vital piece of the puzzle. His ability to make crucial plays in high-pressure moments made him indispensable to the Lakers' success. During those championship years, Horry wasn't the guy who filled the stat sheet night in and night out. But when the playoffs rolled around, you could always count on him to come through in the clutch. His buzzer-beating three against the Kings wasn't an isolated incident either. Time and again, Horry delivered in critical moments, hitting big shots, making defensive stops, and contributing in ways that didn't always show up in the box score, but were crucial to the Lakers' dynasty. By the time the Lakers secured their three-peat in 2002, Horry had added another 3 championship rings to his collection, bringing his total to 5. And while Shaq and Kobe were the faces of the franchise, it was Horry's clutch performances that often tipped the scales in the Lakers' favor. He wasn't just a role player. He was a playoff legend, someone who thrived on the biggest stages and always seemed to come through when the pressure was highest. In many ways, Horry was the perfect complement to the dominant personalities of Shaq and Kobe. He didn't need the spotlight, but he knew how to shine when the moment called for it. In fact, Horry's contributions during those Lakers title runs were so crucial that his legacy as a playoff performer grew even larger. Fans began to expect those big shots from him, and more often than not, he delivered. Whether it was knocking down a three-pointer with the game on the line or making a key defensive stop, Horry's presence in those pressure-packed moments became something of a security blanket for his teammates. They knew that no matter how tight the game got, Big Shot Rob would be ready to deliver when they needed him most. If you thought Robert Horry's career was winding down after the Lakers' incredible three-peat, you'd be wrong. Very wrong. In 2003, Horry signed with the San Antonio Spurs, a move that would allow him to continue adding to his impressive championship legacy. The Spurs were already a formidable team, boasting stars like Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, and Manu Ginobili, and they welcomed Horry's experience and clutch performance with open arms. Joining the Spurs proved to be yet another stroke of luck for Horry. In 2005, during the NBA Finals against the Detroit Pistons, he had the opportunity to shine once more on the biggest stage. The series was a hard-fought battle, with both teams showcasing their grit and determination. After 4 intense games, the series was tied 2-2, setting the stage for a critical Game 5 that would tip the balance in favor of one team. As the game went into overtime, tension filled the air. Every possession was crucial, and fans were on the edge of their seats. With the clock winding down and just 5.9 seconds remaining, Horry found himself open beyond the arc. As the ball left his hands, Time seemed to stand still. Swish! The three-pointer sent shockwaves through the arena, giving the Spurs a thrilling 96-95 victory. It was a shot that echoed through NBA history, not just for its significance in that game, but for how it demonstrated Horry's relentless ability to perform in high-pressure situations. This clutch performance didn't just earn the Spurs a critical win in the finals. It set the tone for the rest of the series. The Spurs went on to win the championship in Game 7, with Horry once again playing a pivotal role in their success. His knack for delivering key plays and big shots solidified his reputation as one of the greatest clutch performers in NBA history. It didn't matter if the stakes were high. Horry thrived when the pressure was on, proving that age was just a number when it came to his ability to make big plays. By the time Robert Horry retired in 2008, he had amassed an astounding 7 NBA championships, more than any other player who wasn't part of the storied Boston Celtics dynasty. His ability to contribute to multiple championship-winning teams across different eras of the NBA showcased his versatility and deep understanding of the game. Over his 16-season career, Horry's statistics may not jump off the page, an average of 7 points and 4.8 rebounds per game. But those numbers don't tell the full story of his impact on the court. What truly matters are the moments he created, the shots he made, and the legacy he left behind. Throughout his career, Robert Horry transformed into the ultimate role player, the kind that every championship team craves. His ability to step into the limelight when it mattered most, combined with his calm demeanor under pressure, made him a unique asset. He didn't just fill a role. He redefined what it meant to be a clutch performer in the NBA. Horry's legacy is woven into the fabric of the league's history, and he stands as a testament to the importance of those who can rise to the occasion, regardless of the odds. In a league filled with superstars and highlight reels, Horry's contributions remind us that sometimes the most significant moments come from players who embrace their roles and understand the value of teamwork. He may not have always been the leading scorer or the player with the flashiest stats, but when it came to delivering in crunch time, no one in NBA history has done it better than Robert Horry. His journey through the league, marked by clutch shots, championship banners, and unforgettable moments, has solidified his status as a true NBA legend. In the end, Robert Horry's career is a powerful testament to the importance of being ready when the moment arises. While he may not have been the flashiest player on the court or the one dominating highlight reels, his legacy is built on a foundation of poise, resilience, and an uncanny ability to perform when the stakes were highest. Horry's journey through the NBA illustrates that greatness isn't always about personal accolades or individual stats. Sometimes it's about how you contribute to the success of your team and rise to the occasion when it matters most. With 7 championships to his name, Horry carved out a niche that few have been able to replicate. His clutch shots in critical playoff moments transformed him into a hero for his teammates and fans alike. From the iconic three-pointer against the Pistons in the 2005 Finals to his game-winning shots in Houston and Los Angeles, each moment has cemented his status as one of the most underrated players in NBA history. These aren't just statistics. They are milestones in a career defined by a deep understanding of basketball and the invaluable role he played in his team's successes. Moreover, Horry's impact transcends the court. He exemplifies the idea that every team needs unsung heroes, those players who may not always get the recognition they deserve, but whose contributions are vital to achieving greatness. In an era of superstars and individual accolades, Robert Horry stands out as the ultimate role player, demonstrating that basketball is indeed a team sport where collaboration and sacrifice are key to winning championships. So the next time someone poses the question of who has more rings than Michael Jordan, remember the name Robert Horry. He is not just a former player. He is a symbol of clutch performance and teamwork in the NBA. Whether you're a diehard basketball fan or a casual observer, understanding Horry's legacy enriches our appreciation of the game and highlights the value of players who thrive in the shadows of stardom. Robert Horry, the ultimate role player and arguably the clutchest performer in NBA history, is a name that deserves to be remembered and celebrated. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the career of Robert Horry, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more in-depth basketball content. Don't forget to click the notification bell so you never miss a new upload. And if you have any thoughts on who the greatest role player in NBA history is, let us know in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you.